All right, so let's move on now to the Carolina Panthers. Joe, again, a really upsetting and really terrible season for, Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers last year. Really the laughing stock of the NFL, I would say, even too. Tickets were super cheap. People they couldn't give them away quick enough and things. And it really flattened out, couldn't get it going, lost their head coach right away. And like you can see, offense ranked 31st, defense 29th, just not a whole lot going on. So when you look forward to this season, you're like, okay, Dave Canales, can you fix this thing? You can't get any worse than last year. All right. But you know what? At least they go and they draft a wide receiver and Xavier LeGette in the first round. And then also they got Diontae Johnson here. So it's different than what they had last year. Last year, you're looking at Adam Thielen and you're like, this is it. You know what I mean? This is your guy he's like on his borderline of retiring. He was even saying in the offseason how, this is a Super Bowl bound team that I'm on here now and things. And now he's shifted back down to now we're in the the slot position, back in there to where it's comfortable now, him at his age. So they definitely, went at wide receiver here to get some more weapons for Bryce Young because he really didn't have a whole lot of options last season.
Well, this isn't the first year they've gone for receiver. You can go back to the past 3 years of them drafting guys like Terrace Marshall Jr., Jonathan Mingo, Adam Thielen. They signed. Or even
when they traded one away.
And then, Robbie Anderson. Oh, no, DJ Moore. I'm sorry. DJ Moore.
Yeah.
That they should have kept him, right?
Right.
But I guess they didn't want to pay the money, mm-hmm. It is what it is. They moved on. But now they're in this constant flow of every single year looking to find the next receiver to replace him. And so far have been unlucky. They also signed Diontae Johnson this year from Pittsburgh, hoping that he can catch the ball for one and hold on to it and then become that dynamic player underneath. Xavier LeGette, to me, that they drafted this year in the first round, I really like the kid. I think he can develop to be a very, very good wide receiver for them. But the problem in college that he had in South Carolina was the fact that his route running wasn't as crisp. His route running wasn't as quick in and out of breaks. And that's what he's got to continue to work on at the next level. If he can do that, he's already got top end speed. I mean, the dude's amazingly fast for his size. And he's built like a truck. Like the guy is just like solid, dense type of body that he will literally run through you, and you swear to God you got hit with a baseball bat. So LeGette is that kind of defining wide receiver that you would like to have in your arsenal, but he still needs to work on a few things.
Yep, definitely. Again, looking at this offense, though, again, they need to turn this thing around because they need to score points, and that's one thing they couldn't do last year. You're hoping that Andy Dalton here in the veteran backup spot can help train Bryce Young and try and eliminate some of the mistakes because you're talking about turnovers too, Joe, with the Atlanta Falcons. This team turned it over a lot too, and that really kept them out of these games and wasn't able to get them competitive. They weren't even competitive in a lot of these different games. But, again, they attacked the offensive line too to try and beef that up a little bit because that was the one thing too. When you have Bryce Young, at a smaller stature that he is too, and frail, you were always worried about when he gets in the league, is he going to be able to withstand hits? And he got hit a lot.
An awful lot. Absolutely. And they paid big money to a right guard by the name of Robert Hunt to hold that position down for them. And you saw them, they've brought in guys like Austin Corbett, a veteran, Damian Lewis from Seattle. They're hoping that he can lock down that left guard spot. And they've made improvements, but some of these guys like Damian Lewis hasn't been that great as an offensive lineman. The rookie from 22, Ikem Ekwonu, who I actually really liked coming out. I thought he was going to be one of the best left tackles, but he's letting me down. He's actually not doing his job and kind of letting some of these very fast speed rushers get right around him, get underneath him, and make a play on the quarterback. Bryce Young being rushed all over the football field. Bryce Young taking hits like you mentioned. And I hope with the adjustments that they made this offseason that will be enough to give Bryce Young more time, get him to be more comfortable back there. And that's the problem. I feel like last year, Bryce Young didn't get the opportunity enough to have a clean pocket, to be able to make the throw, to be able to have time, and instead of being under duress all the time. So Panthers fans, you're hoping that the move that they made is going to be much better for this season and your trajectory there. And then running back, Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, they just drafted, but guess what? Jonathan Brooks is still injured. So he's not available. Miles Sanders, they signed from Philly, a guy who's definitely capable of starting, which I'm kind of interested and intrigued on the fact that they have Chuba Hubbard right now listed as their starter. Definitely want to make Miles Sanders earn it. And then Jonathan Brooks, once he gets healthy, I feel like he's going to end up taking over that spot. There's a reason why they drafted him, pretty high. So I like the running back rotation anyway. And as far as like a backup quarterback, Andy Dalton has found another team and is going to play backup veteran for Bryce Young.
Yeah, and I spoke about just their team and how bad they were on all phases. Defense was putrid. Multiple games where the opposition has scored 40 plus points. Joe, it was just terrible. So when you got an offense that can't really get it going, and your defense is just as like a wet paper bag to where anybody can score on them. Worse in the red zone, worse on turnovers. It's just. Like I said, they were just worse than the league at almost every phase of the game. So they needed to really get something going here, but they really didn't do a whole lot to attack. Again, they grabbed some veterans, which some veterans that are pretty decent, I guess, are all right. But again, leftovers though. You got Jadeveon Clowney here. Xavier Woods. It's just a lot of people's leftovers here. So again, it looks like to me that the Carolina Panthers, they're going to be at the bottom of the division in the league again this year. Seems like they've kind of just sold on this season again, trying to get some more picks and just start building next year.
Yeah, new D coordinator, Ejiro Evero. He's a new face, new thinking, a way of doing defense there. And like you mentioned up, Dave Canals, who is an offensive-minded coach, is going to help kind of groom Bryce Young because his days in Tampa Bay was able to help Baker Mayfield kind of further develop his game, later in his career. So that's what they're hoping for in terms of the offense. And then defensively, new D coordinator, new thought process, because now they're going to a 3-4 defense, and they're looking to kind of have these big defensive linemen take up blocks. They're going to have release their linebackers like a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, which this actually might be a better fit for Jadeveon, to be a guy who's standing up on the outside, just saying, go get that quarterback, much like he did in college. So maybe he could have a little bit of a resurgence in his career. We'll have to wait and see. But then you got guys like who's been there forever, Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell, who I think is a excellent signing. Josie Jewell, former linebacker of the Denver Broncos. This guy is a madman. This guy can play ball. And I think they got themselves a stud there. So you look at their secondary. Now, you mentioned how weak they were, statistically, and then even on the football field, they just never looked like they clicked. They never looked like the chemistry was there, and it looked a little weird. So they changed it up a little bit this year. J.C. Horn looking to return yet again. This guy always getting hurt. Panthers fans are getting fed up with it. Like, dude, you got to stay healthy. You got to be out there. They bring in Xavier Woods, like you just mentioned, a veteran safety to kind of lock up the back end. Dane Jackson from Buffalo has been a backup. Now he's getting a legit shot to start. And then you also have Troy Hill, who's been another kind of, I don't want to say journeyman because he's only been on a couple different teams, but he's starting to get that kind of that stigma about him where he's a good player, a decent player, but it just seems like he never sticks anywhere. He's going to try to hold down that nickelback spot. So I would just say that their secondary to me it hasn't been greatly improved, and it hasn't been, a disappointment. So it's like I'm just kind of wait and see approach here with their secondary. That could be the downfall of this team if they don't rise to the occasion.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.